welcome back to the Diamond Lane here on Classic 107. My name is Chris Wolf. April was a month of freezing and sawing that saw the roads here in Winnipeg turn into pothole obstacle courses. Hopefully this month of May will be considerably warmer and we'll actually be able to get outside and enjoy a nice steak on the barbecue with perhaps a little wine. Today is the first Wednesday of the month, and that means it is time for our local wine and food expert, George Andrews from GJ Andrews Food and Wine Shoppe, to stop by our Classic 107 studios and tell us about his choice of wine for this month of May. Hi, George. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for having me.
I'm just going to pull the mic a little closer to you. Yeah. Okay. So rumor has it that, first of all, you were away for part of April. Where were you? And I have to ask, do you find any new foods that you might be bringing into the shop?
Yes, actually. We found one that's got me very excited. We were down in Arizona. There's a very heavy Hispanic influence in Arizona, and a lot of really wonderful Mexican restaurants. And we found this amazing Mexican grocery store. And they did a meat that, in particular, we love when we go to Mexico. It's called tacos pastor. So it's a pastor meat, which is a pork with a seasoning on it, a Mexican type of blended seasoning. Uh-huh. And we found the pastor meat down there in a grocery store, and we had a taco night with some friends at our place, and it was over-the-top spectacular. So we're going to be doing the taco pastor meat in the store for people to throw on the grill and do authentic Mexican tacos right in their own backyard.
Oh, man. Taste of Mexico here in
Absolutely.
Winnipeg. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this month you've brought in a Cabernet Sauvignon from California. What can you tell us about it?
It's the Paso Dragon Cabernet. Fabulous wine, full-bodied, lots of flavor to it. It's got some nice oak to it, so it's French and American oak. It's got very nice black fruit flavors and aromas, so black currant, black cherry, blackberry, so a little bit of licorice, a little bit of toasted marshmallow that you'll get from the oak barrels. Very, just delicious, soft tannins, easy to drink, lots of fruit, lots of body to it. So it'll go fantastic because we're getting into May now. Barbecue season is hitting. The steak sales are already going crazy. Burgers. Fabulous with this wine. Steaks on the barbecue, fabulous with this wine. So I thought we'd do a nice, easy to drink, full-bodied, but very soft Cabernet. Go great with those steaks in an outdoor barbecue.
Yeah, sounds great. My understanding with the Cabernet Sauvignon is that it does have an affinity for oak barrels. You touched on it just a little bit. Can you talk about the effect that oak has on the fermentation and the aging process of the wine?
So fermentation, they don't ferment in the oak barrels. They just age them in the oak barrels. So your fermentation won't have any effect on the oak barrel, won't have any effect on the fermentation, but the aging it does. So depending on the barrel, if it's a French and American oak, they're probably the two most popular. You get flavors imparted from that barrel. So one of the characteristics of oak is it has vanillin. Mm-hmm. Which is vanilla. Right. So vanillin is actually in the oak. So when people will taste a red wine sometimes, they'll say, I actually get a hint of vanilla in this wine. It's because the vanillin has come out of the oak into the wine. You also get the oak characteristics in the wine. So it gives it a little bit of a toasty. Most of the barrels are burnt inside, charred. So you get a toasty, kind of that toasted marshmallow, roasted, smoky flavor to some of the wines. I love oaken wines. A lot of people got turned off by them or with them because a long time ago, many years ago, people were over-oaking them. It was the big thing to oak, and they were overdoing it. Right. And if they over-oak it, then it becomes a little bit too much for some people's palates. And then a lot of producers were doing things like wood chips in a vat instead of using oak barrels and cost-cutting and just overdoing it all. But when you get the wines that are done properly with the right amount of oak in them, it imparts a texture and a quality and a flavor to the wine that just makes them that much better, in my opinion. And it's the same thing with white wines. You get a nice Chardonnay that's got nice oak to it. They're my favorites. Yeah, so the barrel imparts certain flavors and characteristics to the wine and makes it that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading the notes and the promotional materials for this 2018 vintage. It said the summer had a heat spell for an extended period that pushed the ripening into high gear. So I have to ask the question, what effect can summer temperatures have on the taste of Cabernet Sauvignon's grapes and ultimately the wine? Is there a prime temperature?
So there's a lot of things that can happen. The hotter it is, the more developed the grapes become, the more intense the flavor can be. So you can get and if it gets too hot for too long, you can actually overdo the grapes. So the winemaker will keep an eye on them. And that's why there's not really a set day for harvest. It's all based on the weather. Rain can affect it. If it happens to be a wet season, they get too much rain, the grapes can get too plump. They've got too much water in them, so it dilutes the flavor, so you don't get as high a quality grape. So all of these things can affect it. So if the heat is high gear, your grapes ripen, you're going to harvest early. If it puts the season into high gear and everything's over ripened or ripening much quicker, then they have to harvest sooner. So it'll affect when you pull that grape out. If you were to leave it the full time that you always do, but it was a much hotter summer and the grapes developed quicker, you're not going to have as good a quality in that grape.
Mm-hmm. I got to say, I love me a good Cabernet. It goes so well with steak. Can you talk about some of the steaks that G.G. Andrews has that might go well with this wine?
Yes, and I'll give you a little bit of an example of, we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about why steaks go so well with big full-bodied reds.
Sure.
So my favorite steak, always has been and always will be, is ribeye. We sell prime grade, and that's prime grade everything. So the ribeyes, the New Yorks, the fillets, the porterhouses, T-bones, and New York strips. Mm-hmm. We age everything a minimum of 50 days, 50. And generally we'll go 80, 85, 90 days on a lot of them. And what happens is the enzymes break down the connective tissue as they age. Right. So the steaks gets tenderer. The more fat there is in a steak, the more flavor you're going to have. So as much as we sell more filet than we do ribeye, ribeye is the second biggest seller, we sell more filet, which is the leanest cut. Even at the high grades, it's the leanest of them. I prefer the ribeye because there's more marbling, so I find it has more flavor on the barbecue.
Right.
So when you've got a wine, a big full-bodied red, some of them have, this one has a soft tannins. Some wines have a lot of bold tannins, means they need to be aged a little longer. And the tannins will soften. But if you don't want to wait for it, then you just want to pair that wine with the right food. So you could be drinking a wine and say to yourself, well, you're just going to have a little bit of cheese and crackers, or you just want to have a glass of wine. And you open a bottle and you go, oh my goodness, it's dry, puckering sensation in the mouth. That's the tannins doing that. So you want to soften those tannins so you can enjoy the wine, because not everybody likes that dry, puckering sensation. And often people will tell me that's what they don't like about red wines. So you take a little bit of cheese, put it in your mouth, chew it up, and then drink the wine. The fat coats your mouth, so it protects your mouth from the tannins. So all you're doing is getting the fruit flavors of the wine now, so you're enjoying it again. It's not drying and puckering. Same thing with a well-marbled ribeye. You've got a big, full-bodied red. It's got some good tannins to it. Have it with all that fat in the ribeye. The fat coats your mouth, so it's a perfect pairing. It softens the tannins, so you can taste the steak and you can taste the wine, and it makes it all that much more enjoyable.
Oh, sounds delicious. I'm also presuming that this wine will go well with burgers, right?
Absolutely.
And I sort of took a deep dive into burgers. There's different blends of burgers with various meats and spices. What are some of the hamburger blends that you have at the store that would work well with
we do
wine?
9 different burgers that are ready to go. You don't even salt them. They're seasoned, formed, ready to go. So we do a lamb burger. We do Moroccan lamb. We do a chicken burger, a butter chicken burger. We do a Texas burger, which is a beef burger with crushed chilies, liquid hickory. It's a Southwest flavor to it. We do a prime rib burger. Actually, I think it's 10 actually that we have. We do a veggie burger. We do a salmon burger. Did I say bison?
Nope.
No, we do a bison burger and turkey cranberry. Oh. And the most popular are probably the chicken, the Texas, the prime rib, and the lamb.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
My choice would be bison.
Bison's delicious. My favorites, Texas, butter chicken, and Moroccan lamb.
And it would go great with this wine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I got to ask a question for the vegetarians out there. What vegetables would you put along with this?
So with this wine, you could actually do our veggie burger. If you're going to do this, I would do things like grilled portobello mushrooms, grilled veggies on the barbecue, a medley of grilled vegetables, zucchini, that type of thing. You don't want anything too acidic.
Yeah.
If it's really acidic, that acid's going to affect the balance of the wine.
So I'm picturing shish kebabs.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
And if you're having people over for maybe afternoon drinks in the middle of the afternoon, can you talk about some of the snacks, some of the crackers and cheeses that would go with it?
Yeah. So with this wine, you could do things like French brie. all the way up to 7-8-year-old cheddars. So you can do some of the milder, creamy cheeses to some of the bigger, sharper cheeses. This would go very well with them.
Perfect. George, as always, this wine sounds super yummy. Everything we've talked about, I'm sure, is available at G.G. Andrews Food and Wine Shop at 384 Academy Road, right?
It is.
And if people want to have to order this wine and have some food for an event, where can they go for catering?
384 Academy Road is the address, and you can call us at 487-7300, and we also deliver.
Perfect. George, it's been great. It puts me in a mood for a nice, tasty burger, which I think I'll have when I get home from work. Thanks
Excellent.
for taking the time to stop in.
Thanks for having me.